Horror games can divide a gaming community by being either really fun or something to avoid. Some people will love the rush they get from experiencing a jump scare, while others will dislike every aspect of being afraid. Why are there such polarizing opinions? What makes the horror fans enjoy scary games? Turns out some reasons could be linked to personality traits and even brain biochemicals. This isn't a video telling you not to play horror games, just why I prefer not to play them and how they affect my brain negatively. And no, the irony of having to play and capture footage of games I avoid isn't lost on me. Marvin Zuckerman was a psychologist at the University of Delaware, and in the 1960s created the sensation-seeking scale, which could help understand certain personality traits a little easier. There were 4 main subscales: thrill and adventure seeking, disinhibition, experience seeking, and boredom susceptibility. Thrill and adventure seeking consisted of fearlessness, or participating in high stimulus activities such as skydiving or bungee jumping. Disinhibition usually meant undertaking activities such as drug or alcohol use. Experience seekers tend to travel, take psychedelic drugs, are interested in art, music, or low-risk sensations. Boredom susceptibility usually needs constant external stimuli, such as social interactions or watching movies. What do these personality traits have to do with horror games? A lot of people will fall into one of these traits, and you might even recognize which one sounds familiar to you and your hobbies. Horror games can be associated with the first trait, thrill and adventure seeking. People who love being scared in games would usually also be the people who enjoy high adrenaline, high stimulus activities. I'm not saying horror game fans are exclusively into extreme sports, only that the enjoyment level can be similar in both cases. The biochemical aspect has been seen to be lower levels of MAO type B, an enzyme that helps in the regulation of dopamine. So, being scared in video games can actually release a feel-good chemical in certain people's brains, associating fear with happiness. People who fall outside this first trait and into any of the others may still enjoy horror games, but not to a massive extent. Boredom susceptible people may like horror games now and then, but it's more for the distraction from boredom, rather than the thrill of being scared. To narrow this down even further, Frank Farley, a psychologist at the University of Wisconsin, identified the type T, or big T, personality. T standing for thrill. He summed this trait up in a single word: risk. Type T personalities will take bigger risks, explore and experience the unknown, and enjoy the challenge and stimulation that comes with engaging in all these kinds of activities. Not all Type T personalities are adrenaline junkies. Artists and scientists can also enjoy reaching out into the nether. Opposite to thrill seekers are the thrill avoiders, those who prefer feeling calm and experiencing low stimuli activities, a category I fall into easily. Don't consider these personalities as boring or fun avoiders. They're simply drawn to low-risk experiences. This also doesn't mean they're more intelligent or more cultured than a big T personality. It's truly about following interests that appeal to them. These aren't the only factors of why people like horror games, by no means. Some might find being scared helps them bond with friends, while others will just have grown up watching horror films and that culture appeals to them. As with so many things in psychology, there is no one cause for anything. So, horror games were made to make people feel a certain way when playing them. It's trying to trigger primitive senses and reactions to danger by putting a player in a situation they may not normally find themselves in. The appeal of playing scary games and not actually going into an abandoned building at night, so that you're experiencing what could be a dangerous situation within a safe and controlled environment. You can be sitting in your nice, warm house with a blanket over your lap, eating popcorn, and decide when you want to pause or stop the game at any time. This control allows us to explore certain situations we may find scary, without the risk of being completely involved. So, what about watching streams of horror games? Why do I enjoy that over playing them? I think it has to do with the degrees of separation that game streams give me. I'm not in control of the character. I'm watching someone else make all the decisions and test their reflexes. This removes me from the fear of pushing myself out of my comfort zone or engaging in the experiences I usually avoid. I can just watch someone else go through the game, appreciate the story and setting, and enjoy aspects of the game I wouldn't have seen if I were concentrating on playing. Something I noticed during my short playtimes was that I didn't seem to see anything outside of the circle of light my torch was shining, so any game tips shown were completely ignored while I wandered around aimlessly, confused at what I was supposed to do next. Horror games don't even have to be full-on terrifying to trigger feelings of unease. Take the Dead Rising series. These games have an underlying comedic tone as you defeat hordes of zombies using anything you can find as a weapon. There are numerous things that make this game series uncomfortable for me. The sheer number of enemies constantly around your character, the threat of being grabbed at any time, or the inability to get away, the time restraints on certain tasks, weapons breaking at possibly the worst moment, and everyone's favourite, escorting NPCs. Knowing I have to save NPCs is very stressful. Sometimes there'll be more than one survivor to save, and instead of feeling like a challenge, it's an annoying addition to an already stressful situation. Don't get me wrong, some people love this pressure and challenge. It's just not something I look for when playing games. So if you like or dislike horror games, turns out it's not only a personal preference, but might also be an inbuilt part of your personality and brain chemicals. Either way, I'll stick to playing games that don't give me panic attacks or nightmares.